Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to FM 99 and the Fox's first and only wrestling podcast, Eat, Sleep, Podcast, Repeat. I am Sean Hood. That is Dave Taylor.
How's it going, everybody?
I was going to say, please don't just wave at the camera. And we are a wrestling podcast, sometimes a combat sports podcast. We'll talk a little more about that later, but we got to get the main stuff out of the way first, which is thank you so much for joining us here while we discuss wrestling. We're going to talk to you about Extreme Rules tonight. Do a little preview episode of that. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit about UFC on ESPN 30, I think is what it is. Our buddy Joseph Benavidez is going to be on the card again, so we're going to discuss that a little bit. And then we're also really, I say we're going to do other things, but we're going to get off on tangents because that's what we do on this show. So
absolutely.
It's going to end up happening for sure. But if you want to interact with us, please feel free. Drop a comment over there so we can interact with you guys. Or it's over there, I guess. So we can interact with you guys. We love hearing from you. We love talking to you guys and taking your questions. So by all means, do that. If you want to do it any other way, Facebook.com/ESPR99, on the Twitter @ESPR99, or email us ESPR@FM99.com. That is the easiest way to. And if you want to stay in touch with us all the time, make sure you go to FM99.com or 1069thefox.com, and you can click on the media tab right under that ESPR. It'll take you to our RSS feed, our SoundCloud page, and you can follow that, find our whole archive there. Plus, you can find us on all your major podcasting apps. Just search ESPR Wrestling and subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating and review. We greatly appreciate it. So, without further ado, now that the business is done, Dave, I guess it's time to jump on in.
Yeah, here we go. We got a show on Sunday, which is it's gonna be interesting because there's not really like for an Extreme Rules horror thing. There's not like a
horror Halloween stuff in July.
Why not? All right. So what's it's Extreme Rules. We'll run through the card, I guess, quickly in some of these matches because.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say this right now. MVP is having a career renaissance at this moment.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. I liked him 10 years ago, and then I don't know what happened if he fell out of favor. But yeah, United States Championship match. Apollo Crews defending against MVP for the new shiny belt.
Which actually, I think it's a good updated look. It's lacking a little bit of blue for me, but that's okay. Overall, I think it's a good design, good new look. I'm torn on this one because MVP again is in the middle of a career renaissance at the moment, and I'd love to see him kind of form a whole stable, not just him and Bobby Lashley. I think MVP really is one of the most interesting characters on Monday Night Raw right now.
Great on commentary when he filled in.
Yeah.
Did really good on that. Always a good talker. This is something I think you and I talked about this either an episode or two ago, where you mentioned there's all these stables that form and they never win.
Yeah.
This needs to be different because him with Bobby Lashley, it's like something needs to happen to make people care because they're never going to win. I still think Apollo wins because I like to have him have the belt. But
yeah, Apollo is finally on the upswing after a very, very long time being kind of a forgotten character and a low card, mid card guy at the best. So I'm torn on this one. I want Apollo to hang on to it, but at the same time, like you said, this has got to be different. MVP needs to pick up some wins. Bobby Lashley needs some wins. This needs to be a group that's taken seriously.
You just talked me in the MVP.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the board of I think MVP needs to win the United States title here. I think I'm going to go that route. I think I'm going MVP.
All right. I mean, I want to be wrong, but I kind of want to be right as well because I like both guys because I want Apollo to be somebody. But this is, MVP's window of opportunity here because it's going to get narrower and narrower if he doesn't win. Yeah. A match that they announced tonight on SmackDown was the tables match because how was going to be a steel cage match at the Performance Center. The WWE SmackDown Championship, the New Day, Big E and Kofi defending against Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura.
So selfishly, I have Kofi Kingston on my fantasy draft team.
Oh,
so I want the New Day to win. That being said, I'm kind of at a crossroads here. There's not much for the New Day to do with the tag team titles.
No,
Cesaro and Shinsuke could use them, but I kind of go back to my common thing with Cesaro and Shinsuke, and it's are they gonna do anything with them?
lose them back to the New Day at the next pay-per-view.
Right.
Which I think if any title's gonna of the odds of any title changing hands on this show, this is where I put the odds the highest that there is going to be a title change.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I'm going to go. Yeah, I think you're right. I'm going Cesaro and Shinsuke on this one, just to freshen up the title scene, if nothing else. And and I like them. They're a good team. So
they are. And I thought the match was fine tonight. And it's nice to see Cesaro do the swing, his neutralizer actually winning a match.
Yes,
amazing. In this thing, which
Yes. We're all nerds, Dave. We're familiar with what it is. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's just one of those. All right, so we're gonna go with the next match, and I guess we'll stay on the SmackDown side of things for the SmackDown Women's Championship because I think if you're ranking on the card, this one.
I don't have much to say here. Bayley's gonna win.
Yeah, but Bayley's gonna win it. It's gonna set up for whatever kind of match we're gonna probably get was. I guess Sasha at.
I'm wondering. I'm kind of halfway thinking that Sasha comes out and helps her retain her title, right? Yeah. And then I'm thinking when we jump over to the Raw side, I think we get a flip flop where Bayley comes out to help Sasha and ends up costing her.
Yeah. All right. So since we just talked about that, we're both going to go with Bayley on this. This is going to probably be the best match of the night. It better be, unless
I'm going to say this. We say that this better be the best match of the night, but I really feel like people are underestimating what Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler can do. But that being said, this is a strong candidate for match of the night. Yeah. This one, I think this one has the potential to be a stronger match simply because there is the air of Sasha could win this.
Yeah, because I'm thinking they can go the route of Sasha fights Bayley at SummerSlam, and it's I am the title holder kind of thing. Or, as you said, Bayley comes to help. Cost Sasha the match. That doesn't happen.
Even if Bayley doesn't cost her the match, Sasha losing here will cause more dissension between Bayley and her. That'll cause more
which is odd because they kind of backed off it a little bit.
A little. It's just, I'm going to stick with Asuka to win this one. She just got the belt, hasn't really had a meaningful feud yet.
Yeah.
She got past Nia, and that was about it. She beat Charlotte, but.
Oh, that's right. Was that even a championship match?
Yeah, but I think it was on Raw or something.
It was on Raw. Yeah, because Charlotte already got beat up. Remember, 8,000 things happened to her.
Yeah. We had to have an excuse for her to lose. But I'm going to go with Asuka to retain here.
I agree with that.
And I think that I'd rather let's not have everybody have two belts at one time.
No, and maybe it sets up the Kiari Sane match. That we're going to maybe hopefully get SummerSlam. She's been great since she's come back. It's almost like she's had time to heal and recharge.
I'd love her to be used more, but I think she's going to be leaving us soon. So
yeah, but if we get
anything, I think if anything, we might just get the Asuka versus Kairi match at SummerSlam, and that's the end.
I'm fine with that. And to do the angle where Shayna takes her out because we saw Shayna on Raw.
Yes, thank God. I got two debuts that I was thrilled about. Well, debuts, I guess re-debuts technically. Bianca Belair, and it was funny because I was reading along with a guy who was reviewing the show as I was watching it. I'm just reading this, and he goes, now if Shayna Baszler could just show up, this would be an amazing night for the women's division. And then 2 segments, whatever it was later, all of a sudden there's Shayna Baszler. And I was like, oh my God, yes.
It was weird with the ninjas,
But you know what? The ninjas are weird to begin with. So I'm fine with her just obliterating them.
And if they're gone, then that's even better.
Yeah. I loved Akira just being like, I'm out. And he's rolled out of the ring. That was good.
All right. So we're trying to figure out, because we talked before the show.
We did.
It is believe it or not, we sometimes plan, sometimes we don't. What match is going to be the main event? I guess we'll go with. I guess of the 3, maybe this one will, because this will take us away from the ring for a little bit. The Wyatt Swamp fight, which is a non-title match from everything I've seen. Braun Strowman fighting Bray Wyatt.
Is it not a title match? Really? It's non-title?
Yeah. Does not appear to be a title match. I think this is just probably the second of 3 matches in the series.
Oh, without a doubt, because they're going to go back to this at SummerSlam.
Braun really needs a strong showing here. More than
but the problem is I don't think he's going to get it. Yeah, you're right. It looks like it is a non-title match. Well, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, non-title makes me think Bray's going to win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he's got to look strong in this somehow.
He can't lose again to Braun.
No, pointless.
the only thing I can think is that because Braun made a comment tonight on SmackDown where he said that he needs to win to keep the Fiend at bay. You know what I mean? Before the Fiend can take him out, before Bray Wyatt can take him out. And so my thought process is, okay, well then that's kind of a giveaway. Bray has to win so the Fiend shows up next time. Like Bray has to continue to build up or whatever it is.
What did he fight the Fiend? Oh no, he fought Bray Wyatt. He didn't fight the Fiend. That's right. So it's a 3-step thing. So it's Bray, it's old school Bray. And then when that doesn't work, then it's Michael McGillicuddy, and then it's the Fiend.
How dare you, Michael McGillicuddy?
Hey, by the way, Lloyd writes in and says he's losing to Braun.
He might. It's entirely possible, but like the story, it's entirely possible because it could be like, it needs to be the Fiend to beat Braun, which I could get behind. But that being said, the way they're telling it is that like Braun's talking about how he needs to beat him. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Lloyd's saying Fiend and Braun for the belt SummerSlam. Yeah,
I agree with that 100%, regardless of who wins here.
Fiend wins at SummerSlam. Okay.
That's what I think is as well. But I think if we're doing a best of 3 here, I don't. Again, they're telling the story like that Braun has to beat him here to keep the Fiend from coming back or from coming after him. And so it's like, well, if that's the story they're going to tell, then logically Bray has to win for the Fiend to show up next time. Now, they could just say, screw that. We don't care about our own logic and just do whatever they want to do. That's entirely possible. They've done it a million times.
Logic.
But if we're following the story they're setting up, then Bray needs to win this one.
Yes. It would make sense. Yeah.
But then I agree, regardless of how this one ends, it ends up with Bray as the Fiend versus Strowman at SummerSlam, and I think Fiend takes the belt there.
What happened to Braun? I mean, not like
in a bad situation.
And maybe because it's just current events. There's no crowd, nothing to feed off. But even but before all that, when he had everything going for him, and then obviously they turned him cold for a little bit. They took him out of the Brock match. And then they kind of like, well, what do we do with him? He's a little bit of a comedy character, and it's almost like they, held off because either A, they thought he wasn't ready, or B, they're like, well, it's the Roman Reigns show, so you're just going to be this guy until we.
Kind of the same thing that happens to everybody else. We kind of half push you. I mean, we start a little bit and then we stop a little bit, and we start a little bit and then we stop a little bit. Unless you're the guy they want to push, this is what happens. But his title run has been hindered by the fact that they haven't been able to have all the people they want to have to work with. And they've got no fans, which isn't helping.
No.
Because Braun, one of the best parts of Braun was hearing all the people get behind him.
Yeah.
Braun's style doesn't really wow me when it's just Braun.
Yeah.
He's kind of, I hate to say boring to watch. I don't really mean that, but like there's something to the intensity with the live crowd reacting to the big moves he does.
Yeah. Around the ring and stuff.
He does the big slams and he does the the around the ring thing where he knocks people over, and the crowd always pops for those moves.
Yeah.
And they help the impact. They help it seem more impactful. And I think it's not as impressive when you don't have people there to watch it. See, this is where I feel like some people, high flyers and luchadors and technical guys can because the high flying stuff is impressive whether people are there or not. You're just wowed by what they can do with their bodies.
Yeah.
I've seen a million guys press slam people, so that's not a big deal. But I feel like the technical guys really get a chance to shine here too, because they can have some of these technical matches that we can appreciate at home and not have, I don't know, we don't have to worry about a crowd getting bored.
Well, yeah, like AJ Styles and Matt Rhodes had a decent, pretty good match. So
yeah.
And the one thing that's been going on in the last couple of weeks is, the match has been longer. It's more TV time because they got more time to fill. They have limited wrestlers, and they kind of cut a little bit of the silliness out because sometimes it's more like, well, we're going to placate to the crowd and we're going to have this going on and this comedy thing. And we still get a little bit with the ninjas or whatever the heck that is.
Right.
But they've kind of lessened down. And the tonight was interesting too because it was almost like the old Saturday night main event where they had the long promos at the beginning because it's like, we need to fill time. So
yeah, well, but that's part of the problem. It's so funny too because like we've said before about how they need to give things time to breathe, and we need don't just cram everybody on the show and everything. And I agree with that statement, but I also feel like the fact if you're going to do these promos and whatnot, they need to be good.
Yes.
They need to serve a good purpose. Now tonight wasn't a bad show.
No.
There was nothing. I'm not going to point to tonight and say it was a terrible show or anything like that. It was an entertaining 2 hours, is how I would call it. You know what I mean? Better than they have put forward in recent weeks. Same deal for Monday. I thought it was above average. You know,
that was the first Seth Rollins match I enjoyed in a long time.
Yeah, so.
And I don't know if it's because it was against Kevin Owens or what, but I was really drawn into the Seth Rollins match, which for whatever reason, it's just almost like my kryptonite for watching Raw. But I enjoyed the show on Monday more than I have lately. And the women's tag match was good too, but it was good wrestling. Both accounts. All right.
Oof. Oh God.
Okay, so for the WWE Championship, speaking of Raw, you had Drew McIntyre defending against Dolph Ziggler, and a stipulation we don't know. Now, I have a great idea for a stipulation they're not going to do.
Yeah, what's that?
It's a Heath Slater gets his job back match, where if Drew wins, Heath does not come back. But if Dolph wins, not only does he get the championship, but Heath Slater gets his job back.
Why would Drew get a win and keep Heath Slater out? That doesn't make any sense.
Because he's his friend. So it's one of those like mental things, they would kind of do, or like.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I see you like.
Yeah, like, do you really want to win? Because your friend's not going to come back here.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen. But
what's funny is I think that something like that could work for almost any other pay-per-view. But I don't know that it works for this one with the Extreme Rules handle. The stipulation needs to be something extreme, not just a Judy Bagwell on a pole match. It needs to be something.
Heath Slater on the pole.
Right. Yeah. It needs to be something extreme where it's going to be some kind of weapon or some kind of first blood or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but regardless, Drew McIntyre all day.
Absolutely, because it seems
unless they just want to swerve us for the sake of swerving us, it should be Drew McIntyre all day.
But they seem to be leading towards Randy Orton, I guess, is in the SummerSlam match for Drew, which is a good run for Drew.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
The match is good. Lloyd says Drew wins for sure. So anybody else got let us know what you think in that match or any other matches on the card. So we couldn't figure out what the main event would be.
But this is our assumption.
Yeah.
I believe you mean that we think that this is going to be the the main event of the evening. The
I-4-9 match.
Oh my God.
I-4-9 match.
Okay, so we talked about this before the show a little bit, and this is the one we picked as the main event simply because it is the most ridiculous stipulation. It's going to have some kind of crazy hooey finish. It's going to be some kind of CGI craziness is what it's going to do. And they're going to need to get away from it relatively quickly after this. Don't leave you with time to soak in it. Or I should say, don't leave the rest of the show where they're going to have to remind you of this thing that happened earlier in the night. You know what I mean? Just get out. If it happens, over, out, get out of the show.
Yeah. But is it I think because of what happened on Raw with everything going on that Seth needs to win this match. I shouldn't say needs, but would because of reverse
momentum.
Momentum, yes.
What we should clarify here is that just in case if you weren't aware of this, the eye for an eye match was confirmed by WWE that somebody wins by removing their opponent's eye.
Yes, the language is the match can only be won when one competitor extracts an eye of their opponent, not the letter I.
Are you hearing me?
An eye.
Take an eye out.
Right here.
This is the crap they're writing.
Somebody logging in right now and seeing that close up. Okay.
And they're logging right back out. Ray is on a handshake deal. Allegedly. We're all. It's one of those things. There's reports going around that Ray doesn't have an official deal right now. But it does seem that way that Ray's on a handshake deal. His contract was set to expire soonish. I mean, I think it already did technically, but I don't know if they have time to add on because of injury or whatever. But regardless, I think he's done after this one. Whoever loses this match is done. They can't be back.
I mean, I don't think unless Seth is going away for a while. But
then when he comes back, he'll have to wear an eye patch for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
This has to be Rey Mysterio being done in this company. There can't be anything else here.
Does Dominic cause him to lose the match?
No. I'm going to say this. I don't think Dominic directly causes him to lose the match.
Okay.
If Ray was going to hang around and do more stuff, then yes, maybe, because you could lead to something with Dominic being a part of Seth's group. and that being there to get under Ray's skin. Without Ray there, I just don't know if there's a payoff for that. So I feel like it's more likely that this happens to Ray, and then even though Ray's gone, Dominic keeps coming back and attacking Seth Rollins, and you know what I mean? I think that being the plan. But either way, regardless of where this goes later on, I'm with Lloyd on this when I saw his comment. It's a good way to write Ray off if he's done with his deal. I think Rey Mysterio loses this, Seth Rollins wins. It's going to be weird.
You know, it's a little weird. I mean, to think that like Ray would be done, but obviously he's had injuries throughout his career. He comes back. Oh, he looks great. He's gone for 6 months.
Great. But he's been there years now too.
Yeah.
Hasn't he been doing this? When did he start? He was young.
He's been going since the 90s.
I think when he hold on, I'm going to look at what age he was when he started wrestling, because I remember reading it and thinking it was crazy early in his life.
Well, I should say he's only 45, but he made his ring debut
now.
Yeah, at a young age.
Here you go. He's 45, right?
Yeah. He's gonna be 40. He's 45.
He's 45. He made his debut in Mexico wrestling when he was 14 years old.
1989.
So this dude has 30 years of wrestling wear and tear on his body at this point.
Yeah. How many knee surgeries has he had? I can only imagine.
Every time Ray does anything, I'm like, oh, he's going to tear something. Oh, God, something's going to rip. You know, it's like I get so nervous for the dude because for a while, towards the end of his last WWE run, he could not stop getting injured.
Yeah.
Every time he did anything, he hurt himself. He was like, it's so funny because they're such polar opposites, but him and Kevin Nash had like the same problem for a long time. You know, Kevin Nash would take 3 steps and tear a quad. He would take 3 steps and tear an ACL or something. It was
yeah.
But again, I think this is a way to write Ray off TV, and Seth can keep going with his now over the top evil Messiah thing.
Well, I'm assuming. I don't want to assume because we've seen Murphy, but we have not seen Austin Theory. That we won't see Austin until he's 100%. You know, that's gonna be a while. You know, and A-Card and Razor are. I don't know who has the injury. For ALP, but are
they able to be part of the group when they come back? I guess it just depends on how the heel, because if they're healed and the group is still a thing, then sure, why not bring them back?
Yeah, because they're not their attitudes don't look like they're a face team. You know, I mean, they could be the Viking Raiders who are jobbers now. Yeah. So.
And anyway, that's Extreme Rules, folks. And if it sounded like we weren't really enthused, it's because we're not really enthused.
One match, but this is where we get surprised, Sean. How many times?
We get surprised. So many times.
Like, this show's gonna suck, and then like, wow, this show's really good, and then like the other times, this show's gonna be awesome. Yeah,
I think the show has the potential to be good. It's got Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, who will have a good match, but there's really no doubt in my mind that Drew's winning that.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio. If they let Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio have a real match before they do the crazy eyeball ending, then that should be a great match as well. Sasha and Asuka should be great.
Yeah.
You have the potential for Bayley and Nikki Cross could have a really good match.
Yeah.
So there's some really good stuff on this card. Cesaro and Shinsuke versus the New Day, depending on how that goes, that could be a really great match. There are some strong matchups on paper. It's just the booking around them that makes me really want to rip out my own eyeballs. It's frustrating. So I don't know. It'll be a show that I'm interested in watching for the wrong reasons. I'm interested in watching to see if it turns into a train wreck.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if this is the right reason to be watching.
It should be over quick though. I mean, it should be like a 2.5 hour show.
Yeah.
I can't imagine them dragging this on in a way. Street Profits defending Lloyd. You know, that's a good question. Maybe on the pre-show. Have we seen them? Oh, we saw them in the last couple of weeks. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't been announced yet. I think you could easily add that to a pre-show match: the Angel Garza and Andrade versus the Street Profits.
Yeah, the Forever team. That team splitting up.
Yeah. Dave's so upset about it. He's really heartbroken.
Well, we can't just drag it on. Well, here's the thing: Andrade needs a manager, and Angel Garza is going to be a star. I mean, he has a manager.
Oh, I'm just noticing that if I I tuck my chin, right, I look like a floating head over here because I wore a black shirt on a black background.
Yeah. For those listening in the audio edition, it's where it's still like, I guess we got lights in ourselves now, so I have a nice tan going, but
you can see us, yeah.
You can see us, but it's the camera angles that we're trying to figure out here a little bit. So.
Yes, if you are listening to the audio version, feel free to join us when you do these live. Generally speaking, Friday nights before or after SmackDown. If you check our page ahead of time, it'll tell you when we're going to go live.
Yes.
Facebook.com/ESPR99 to keep up on that. And you can join in on these and feel free to throw us some comments, like our good buddy Lloyd, who was
welcome to the show, Lloyd.
Really chatting up with us, which we appreciate.
And by the way, Monday, I guess 7 o'clock, we're going to shoot for the review of Extreme Rules, or 7:30, because we may only need a half hour.
Yeah.
We discussed this live. So there's some pre-planning we're doing right now.
7:30. We'll talk about it because we'll talk about it. We'll figure out when we're going to do it.
Yeah.
But it'll be in the 7 o'clock hour. I promise you that it will be before Monday Night Raw starts.
Yes, absolutely. So there's something else happening this weekend that is not wrestling related that we do talk about from time to time on the show.
You are correct, sir, because we both have talked about this before. I think that I'm generally a bigger fan than you are. But UFC is going to have a show Saturday night on ESPN Plus, which I will be watching. Thank you, Lloyd.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Saying we're awesome. He's a nice dude. Oh, Lloyd, you're awesome. So we're going to watch UFC on ESPN Plus 30. And it is I'm watching it for one particular matchup. It is a rematch between, for the flyweight title, the vacant flyweight title between Davison Figueiredo and Joseph Benavidez, who is a friend of the show. Yes. Joseph was on with us, and he spoke with us before the last time they had a flyweight fight when they did UFC in Norfolk. The catch was Figueiredo ended up not making weight for that fight. He missed weight. Yeah. So it ended up not being for the title. Well, at least not for both of them. If Benavidez had won, he would have gotten the title, but he didn't win. He got taken out in the second round. It was bad looking. Benavidez was really upset about that loss. He said it'll probably bother him forever. But this weekend on Saturday night, he has a chance to avenge that, and he has a chance to avenge it and make it up to himself. I've been looking through some stuff. I'm looking on like MMAJunkie.com, and I'm trying to see who like their experts, quote unquote, are picking to win the rematch. Yeah. And I will say this: our boy Benavidez seems to be the favorite.
Well, good. You know what? It was the knee strike. I think that got him, right? I don't know if it was like not like an accidental knee, but that's what got him. He started bleeding, and then that was it. And when we talked to him, because at the time the guy was a champion. I think it was a dual champion, right? And he's going after another belt because he was in different weight classes, and then of course he couldn't make weight for this. But the whole psychology of the thing, because what he has now, if he doesn't win this match, Benavidez, he will set the record for most attempts at a title without a win.
Yeah, because right now he's tied, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's never a title you want. I'm pulling for Joseph just because we talked to him. He was such a nice guy. He's an incredibly talented dude. He's 1/3 my size, and I'm convinced he could kill me without even really trying. And he in this fight, if you're looking at the betting odds, the Vegas odds, he's actually the underdog. I think Figueiredo is the 2-1 favorite, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm looking at these predictions here, and people are overwhelmingly picking Benavidez to win. He's they had 14 people on MMA Junkie choose who they thought was going to win this fight, and 11 out of 3 picked Benavidez.
Is it a sentimental thing because he's a more well-liked guy? I mean, just saying because of he's been a steady guy in that weight class and everything, and everything does. The other guy, kind of rubbed people the wrong way with I'm going to be in this weight class, so I don't have to fight this guy, kind of thing. That was kind of the thought before.
Yeah, I think part of it might be that. I think they also know how much this fight means to him now, because they had a chance for this once before, and he lost, and he took that so badly. And the title still remains vacant. He knows that he's up against that wall of being the sole owner of the record of most title fights without a win, and he doesn't want to be a sole owner of that record. I think there's a little bit of that. I also think he's been training his ass off for this. He's a really well-rounded fighter. I think he just got caught last time, and at UFC Norfolk, and I guess actually now would be a good time for us to let you guys in on a little bit of what we spoke to Joseph Benavidez of last time when it comes to the fight game.
It is my first title that I'm looking to win, but even that, it's just you still look at it as another fight, I was just doing an interview in the car even where, my first title fight, I was so obsessed with the object that was like the belt. And
right.
like that was all that mattered, and it was just this like imaginary thing that was gonna make me like self-validated and make me like feel better about myself. And it was such like a selfish thing. Like I just wanted to be the best. I want everyone to cheer for me and like hold up an object. But it's really not that, I mean, it's cool. Like I was saying, it's like an extra line on my Wikipedia page that like proved that I was like really good at fighting. But like I know I'm good at fighting, and people are always gonna say I'm good at fighting.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, that's not what motivates me. Like I used to literally run on the treadmill and look at a belt. You know what I mean? Like that might not be healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's different ways. It didn't work for me, like the obsession part of it. And like now, like I literally just like when I imagine winning the belt, I imagine winning for other people. Like I don't look at like I think about hugging my wife or something in the back and like embracing her, not like I'm gonna hold up the belt and everyone's gonna like love me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get
and
it.
stuff like that. So the belt, like I said, it's great and it proves you were really good at something. You were the best in the world for that night. But I'm like, for the last 10 years, any given night, I was the best, in the world that night. So this is just something to symbolize it. It's actually a nice piece of metal that I can have and show I was good, like all that kind of stuff that goes with it. And amongst other things, I'm sure that goes with, being the champion of the UFC. So
yeah.
Do you think mentally, like having been in championship fights before and your opponent has not, does that maybe give you a mental advantage in some ways? Because how to, as you just mentioned, your preparation's different.
I mean, I definitely think so, and that just goes with experience. I'm more experienced than him. This happens to be a championship experience is a huge one, but the fights, the experience I have, I mean, I'm a huge believer in all that paying off. Like, you just through training, through preparation, through time, through experience, through the journey, you gain just little tiny advantages, that help you. Like nothing's guaranteed. You still only have a chance to go win that night, but all those little things help that chance.
There you go.
Yep.
He was great. He was when we had him on. He's a very friendly guy, and it was in studio, by the way, which is
he came in to talk to us. Yeah, really good guy. I liked what he said about not the obsession didn't work for him. That being said, I feel like he's probably been a little obsessed since that last loss. We were there. It was God, it was hard to watch because now it's so funny because I've always been a fan of fighters, right? But I've never had one that I've actually. Well, that's not true. I've talked to a couple of guys now, but he came in, he talked to us. He was so nice. We really got to get inside his head a little bit, and we told him we were going to be there rooting for him and everything, and we were. And just to watch it go down like it did to a guy who didn't even make weight.
All that, and then you go, "Oh, this guy, he's not making weight, by the way."
Yeah, and I mean at that, this time he made weight just fine, so that's great. I'm glad. Man, that rubbed me the wrong way last time. That really upset me. But again, I'm pulling for Joseph Benavidez this time. He's my pick to win. I'm gonna never not pick him. I'm gonna never not pick Joseph Benavidez. So if you happen to be a fan of MMA, let us know who you think is going to win tomorrow night's UFC on ESPN Plus 30. You can send it to us at ESPR@FM99.com, or you can tweet us at ESPR99. Let us know who you think. Email us as well at ESPR@FM99.com. And let us know who you think will win the fight, just Benavidez or Figueiredo. I don't know. It's a toss-up because, again, Figueiredo looked so vicious last time. His strikes were nasty, but I can't stop pulling for Benavidez. I just can't stop.
Yeah, he's a guy. You want him to get this because otherwise he's going to have that distinction.
And remember, he told us when he becomes champ, he's going to come back on.
Yeah.
So we can hold him to that. We can say, "Hey, look, man, you owe us another interview now because you told us you were going to tell us what it was like to finally get that win."
Yes.
So if that happens, we will definitely reach out to him about having him back on.
Sending good pre-karma.
Yes, 100%. Good pre-karma from us to our buddy Benavidez. So that's going to do it for us tonight. We will be back, like Dave said, on Monday. We're going to be reviewing ESPN. We're going to be reviewing Extreme Rules and probably, going over a little bit of what happened on UFC on ESPN Plus 30. Because hopefully good news. You'll know right away when we open the show. I promise you that. So in any event, if you want to get in touch with us, again, remember there's lots of different ways to do that. You can email us, espr@fm99.com. You can find us on all the different social media apps, facebook.com/espr99, on the Twitter @espr99. And, of course, you can always find us on all your major podcasting apps. Just search ESPR Wrestling, and that gives you the podcast pops right up there for you. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating and a review. We greatly appreciate it. Until next week, barely. 3 days from now. 3 days. 3 days from now, we'll be back talking Extreme Rules with you. So until that time, remember to eat, sleep, podcast, and
repeat. Good night, everybody.